So most people moving to Minneapolis go straight to those inner suburbs. But you know what I see happening all the time? A lot of people rush the move. And then later, they wish they had looked around a little more before they did that. I've been selling homes in this market for over 24 years, and I've done over 3,700 deals. So today, I'm going to show you 6 small towns just outside the city that I'd tell my own family to check out first, no questions asked. By the end of the video, you'll know exactly which one fits your lifestyle. So let's start with Stillwater. All right, just imagine for a second, you walk out of a coffee shop on a Saturday morning and the river's right there at the end of the street. There's a lift bridge in front of you, old storefronts on both sides, and that's just a normal weekend in Stillwater. It's right on the St. Croix River, about 35 to 40 minutes from downtown Minneapolis, and the whole downtown feels like a historic movie set. This is one of the oldest towns in Minnesota. It goes back before the state even was a state. You can feel the history everywhere you walk, the brick, the stone, the buildings that have been there for generations. So the rest of your morning looks like this. You're walking through locally owned shops, little boutiques, antique stores, and bookstores, then grabbing lunch somewhere along the water. Lowell Park runs along the whole riverfront, and the lift bridge itself is a pedestrian and bike crossing on the St. Croix, which allows you to access miles of trails across the river in Wisconsin. In the summer, the whole place just comes alive. You can almost feel the heartbeat of the town. Boats moving through, trolley tours going, and patios packed with people having a wonderful time. It's busy, but it still feels fun, not crowded. So a quick thing to keep in mind, we're going to look at 2 different ways to live on the lake near the city. Same idea, completely different feel. Well, we'll get there in a minute. Now, I'll be honest with you, tourism is real in Stillwater. Summer weekends get incredibly busy and Main Street fills up fast. But go 2 blocks off the main drag and it changes quickly. It gets quiet, more residential, with big trees and that old Minnesota feel. For most people, that trade-off works. So who's moving here? A lot of professionals who want a real small town feel, but still need access to the city. You can get downtown in about 35 minutes outside of rush hour, which is easy if you're not making that drive every single day. You also see a lot of empty nesters who are drawn to the older homes and the character here. Now, let's talk price. You've got everything from big Victorian mansions to newer custom builds in the hills, but most homes land somewhere in the high $400,000 range. If you're closer to downtown, especially in the historic area, you're usually looking at the upper 600,000s. Prices have been moving up steadily. Homes are selling fast. Inventory stays light, especially anything walkable to Main Street. When the right one hits, you need to move fast. The next area has a different feel. It's smaller, quieter, and has a backstory most people don't expect. But before we get there, one quick thing. If you're watching this and thinking about moving to the Twin Cities area, or you already live here, this is a good time to reach out. We work with buyers and sellers across this metro area every day, and we know these towns inside and out. If you want someone local who can walk you through the real differences and help you figure out what fits, my contact information is in the description right down below. Do us a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. We want to get a lot of these videos out to people just like you. All right, back to the video. So Northfield. So the classic slogan here, believe it or not, is cows, colleges, and contentment. It's real, no joke. And it really fits. Here's the thing. Northfield has 2 things most small towns would love to have. The Cannon River runs right through downtown, and you have 2 colleges, one on each side of the river. Carleton on the east end and St. Olaf up the hill on the west end. The college presence in this town is a really big deal. It brings money into the town, and it's a big reason downtown feels so alive for a place this size. So what does a Saturday look like in Northfield? There are indie bookstores, really good bakery cafes, and live music in the park. There's a river walk people actually use, and plenty of parks across the city. In the winter, outdoor skating rinks pop up all over. You want to hear something really wild though? One of the most famous bank robberies in American history happened right here. Jesse James and his crew. The town still celebrates it every fall with a festival. It's got a mix of, it's got that mix, a little artsy, still outdoorsy, but with some culture to it. In my opinion, you don't find that combination everywhere. Coming up, you're going to see a couple of other towns with very different identities. One of them has a commute setup that most buyers around here don't even know about. Now, the commute from Northfield to the cities is one of the longer ones on the list. You're looking at about 45 minutes up 35 to downtown Minneapolis. That's a trade-off, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But for the right person, this is a positive right now. Most homes are landing in the low to mid 300s for a typical house. The market has cooled a bit from last year. Homes are sitting a little bit longer, which gives buyers a little bit more room to negotiate. So if you're looking for character, a stronger sense of community, and a price point you're not going to find closer to the city, this is one to take very seriously. Now, the next town is where lake living really starts to show up, and there's a lot more going on there than just the water. Waconia, right? Let's talk about Waconia. Around here, you walk out your front door, drive 5 minutes, and you're putting your boat on the water on one of the biggest lakes in the Twin Cities metro. That's just everyday life in Waconia. It sits about 30 miles southwest of Minneapolis, right on Lake Waconia, which is the second largest lake in the Twin Cities metro. It still has that old resort town feel, but now people live here full time. It used to be a getaway, now it's a home. So mornings are the whole point here. You've got boat launches, a public beach, and people fishing right off the docks. Downtown is easy to walk in and has a lot of character. There's Lola's Lake House right on the water and the main scoop for ice cream. There's the farmer's market, events on the lake all year, and in the winter, everything shifts into ice fishing. Now here's the thing. What's just outside of town is a big part of the draw. There is Schramm Vineyards and a few breweries all within a few miles. It's that small town feel, but with a lot going on. That's a big reason people are moving out here from the closer suburbs. There's another town coming up that makes a really strong case for value in this area, and most buyers aren't even looking at it. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. So who's moving to Waconia? People who want lake life but do not want to drive hours north to get it. You also see professionals in the western part of the metro who want to be on the water after work but don't want to pay the Lake Minnetonka pricing. The drive to downtown Minneapolis is about 40 to 45 minutes. Most homes land in the low 500,000s. If you're on the lake, prices are going to jump up pretty fast. A lot of those homes will go well past $1 million. Prices have been moving up over the last year, and in a market where a lot of other towns have gone flat, that kind of demand says something about Waconia. If you want lake life all year, Waconia should be on your list for sure. Now the next town, this is where things shift a bit. New Prague. So most people haven't even heard of this one. Once you see it, it starts to make a lot more sense. New Prague is a true Czech-rooted small town about 40 miles southwest of Minneapolis. It was settled by Czech and Bohemian immigrants in the 1800s, and that identity is still a big part of the town today. You see it everywhere. Czech street banners, old world bakeries, and a real Czech heritage club, and Dosinki's Harvest Festival that has been going on for over 40 years. The main street feels different from anything else around here. You have brick storefronts, European style signs, and a tight walkable downtown. Some of those shops have been open for over 100 years. I grew up nearby, so I can say this with confidence. There's nowhere else like it in the Twin Cities. So what does a regular day look like in New Prague? So start your day at the bakery and then walk down Main Street, past the Historical Society, and visit all of the shops along Main Street. And for that matter, you might even be able to bar hop your way to grab lunch at Fishtail. Then you can visit Cedar Lake or the trails around town. It's quiet and has a real identity that bigger suburbs just can't copy. This is an affordable option with a very small town feel. You've got a mix of smaller historic homes near downtown and newer builds in the surrounding neighborhoods. Most buyers are landing somewhere in the high 300s to low 400s. Prices have gone up a bit over the past year, and inventory has opened up a bit also. The drive runs about 45 to 55 minutes to downtown on 35W. If you're choosing New Prague for the lifestyle and the price point, that can be a trade-off you're worth accepting. But if you want character, a strong sense of community, and real value, this one is tough to beat anywhere in the metro. Now, Prior Lake, just to the north, has a completely different feel, and it might be the most lifestyle-driven town on the entire list. Prior Lake, you know, something about being around water. It just slows things down, and in a really good way. That's really what Prior Lake is about. It's built around a large lake system, 2 public beaches, multiple boat launches, and a real lake culture that people actually use. So Saturday here starts early. So boats out on the water, the farmer's market in the morning, then lunch at Charlie's on Prior right by the lake. From there, maybe Boathouse Brothers Brewery, and then ice cream at Lakeside Eats and Treats. Once winter hits, the same lake turns into an ice fishing and pond hockey mecca. Same spot, different season, same kind of energy. Now, the commute is one thing that surprises people. It's better than you'd expect. You're about 30 to 35 minutes from downtown Minneapolis in normal traffic. There's also an express bus during the week that goes straight to downtown. Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport is about 25 to 35 minutes away, and the Mall of America is between 20 and 30 minutes away. So who ends up here? A lot of professionals along the 169 and 494 corridor, people coming from tighter suburbs who want more space and access to the water, and people who just want to breathe a little more. Most homes land in the mid to upper 400s and get higher rather quickly. Lakefront home values climb fast and can get well into the 7 figures. Inventory stays tight, and well-kept homes, well, they move rather quickly. So you've got to be ready to buy here because the good homes don't sit at any price point. With that said, the last town on the list catches a lot of people off guard. There's one feature there that almost nobody is talking about. So Elk River, most people have heard of the other towns on this list, but Elk River, not so much, especially if you're not from Minnesota. That's part of why it keeps popping up for buyers. It sits about 35 miles northwest of Minneapolis, right where the Elk and Mississippi rivers meet. It's grown over the years, but it still holds on to that small town feel. you see it right away. A historic water tower from the 1920s, a walkable main street with pubs and parks right along the river. Then, just outside of town, you've got wide open land. That's what I mean by a gateway town. A lot of people passing through are heading up north towards places like Brainerd and Pequot Lakes. The location gives it a different feel, more open, a little quieter, like you're right on the edge of something. On a Saturday, it usually goes like this: breakfast on Main Street, then a walk along the Mississippi River at one of the mini parks. Farmers markets when the season is open. Later in the day, you're out at a nearby lake or a regional park. So if you work downtown but want a true small town setup, this is worth a look at. If you're driving, it's about 40 to 45 minutes on US 10. Most homes here are newer builds in subdivisions with some older farmhouses from the early 1900s on the edges. Prices usually land in the low to mid 400,000s, making this one of the more affordable towns on the list for this kind of setup. When the right one shows up here, you want to be ready because the good options don't last long. So there you have it. 6 towns, 6 very different ways to live around Minneapolis. At the end of the day, it really comes down to this: what do you want your day-to-day to look like? So if you want help figuring out which one actually fits, reach out. We work with buyers and sellers in these areas every single day, and we know these towns inside and out. You can email us at team@hhgus.com. We'd love to help you sort it all out. If this got you thinking about your budget and what your money really gets you here, take a look at our next video. I break down the top 7 luxury suburbs in the Twin Cities. Check that out right here. One more thing. Don't miss our monthly webinar for buyers and sellers. A new topic each month, and you can ask us everything live. The link to register is in the description right down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video and at the next house.